So, Kowalczyk leads. Second is Kanoro. Kanoro is only 3 seconds behind. I wonder if that wasn't a pit stop. That could well have been just a mistake, although it was quite a ways ahead. I'm not entirely sure what has happened, but there's no damage on Kanoro's car. So it could well have just been a slight off or a pit stop, just he was that far ahead. But Marshall now 5.6 seconds behind. Bailing 22 seconds behind in 4th. And Kowalczyk pits. Kowalczyk does now pit. And so that means that Kanoro retakes the lead of the race here at Bathurst. So, smooth driving it is, and again down into that chicane, all working fine. There's Butler in 5th place in the Mustang. Bender in 8th in the Mustang. Jackal, also in a Mustang, 11th. Bailing. So, lap 24 then, here at Bathurst. Marshall still around about the same gap from the race leader. Just cannot find another way through. So, well, let's go to Benton, the pole sitter, running 7th place. Peterson in 6th is just 11 seconds up the road. And he holds the fastest lap of the race. 2 minutes and 1 second and 6 tenths. There is Marshall and the chicane, and And I don't see why not. We'll go for a lap on board with Canoro. Down into turn 1. 90-degree right-hander. Make sure you don't clip the grass on the exit, can spin you around very easily. Now this straight can feel like a lifetime heading down towards turn 2. We'll be desperate to make the right sort of braking, such a heavy braking zone. Another 90-degree right-hander, now deep into the technical part of this circuit. Left, and then the left, the banking really doesn't help you, it unsettles the car, then makes for a blind right-hander. And then another car, there could be a car on the inside and you wouldn't be able to see it. And then more crest, you can't hit that wall. But you have to get as close as you can. Now through the left-hander, don't clip the grass on the outside, deep. Downhill into the chicane, and the car ahead Bender has put it into the wall, just like so many others have done. And Canoro can make it through pretty easily. And now this is where it starts to get a bit simpler. Down this straight. And then uphill, and then right back downhill again. Through the right-hander, have to keep it flat, and then a braking zone into the chicane. So many drivers lock up there, and then under the arch, you can go off to the pit lane there and into the final corner. Another 90-degree left-hander and onto the pit straight, which is actually one of the shortest straights of the track. Actually, I think the shortest straight of the track, and that is a lap of Bathurst. So Canoro leads. Second is Marshall, and Bailing third. The top 3 hasn't really changed at all. So Kowalczyk has also had a decent race in the Porsche. Now into the final corner. For Kowalczyk, I think he's just been the most consistent driver out there. Done really, really well not to make any sort of mistakes. It's such a difficult circuit. He's done extraordinarily well. Just so smooth on the controls. Sometimes in motorsports you don't have to be the fastest, you just have to be the smoothest. As Wilhelm finds himself in the pit lane again, certainly not the first time he stopped. But back to the race leader, Canoro has also been very consistent all race. And whoa, even though he's just made a snap of oversteer there, he is taken really well to being in the lead. There can be a lot of drivers out there who would feel the pressure simply of being at the front. Even with Marshall behind, I've been trying to close down for ages now. 15 laps or so. But now we get to the part of the race where you know where you are, you know where your priorities are and what you need to do. It's just about executing what you need to do. And Peterson in 6th place. He's got Jackal behind, who seems to be putting pressure on. He's in 11th. And then there's Stanek behind, who's in 9th. So there's a whole mismatch of cars, and Peterson coming into the pit lane. And there's Benton, who will try and close that gap to Peterson. But now the closest driver ahead of him is 2nd place and the leader. So if he wants a chance at getting possibly a top 5 finish, well, top 5 would be Butler, who is 55 seconds ahead. His biggest fight now will probably be Peterson for 6th place. And, well, 6th, there's nothing to sniff at. It's a very good 30 points that his team G-Force would definitely want. It would add to the 28 that they currently have. Oh, just clipping the wall there on the outside of turn 2. But now into the final half hour of this race. It's not the end, it's certainly not the end. Still so much can happen. There's Bailing, who should be very happy with 3rd place in the Ferrari. It would add to their current points, but they won't be able to gain the position as Marshall is in 2nd ahead of them for Champagne, the team that he's tied on. So it looks like it will be just an addition. So, to go through the points, Canoro, as things stand, Canoro will receive 43 points from this race. 2nd, Marshall will receive 40 points to add to his current 40. And 3rd will receive 37, so that is Bailing. So, Prestige Worldwide Racing will have an additional 43 points to add to their current 34. That makes 77 points for them. That should move them up from 5th. Then 80 points for Champagne Endurance Team. Certainly keeps them ahead of Prestige Worldwide. And then just 3 points behind Champagne, will be Bailing. So the championship still staying very, very close, but looking at the leader of the championship, number 74. One can only deduct they aren't racing today. But second place in the championship. I'm pretty sure I saw them at MJ Sport at least at some point during this race. They're number 46. See, not at this point. But Jackal locked in battle with Mattis. Mustang versus BMW, the battle for 10th. Both cars look, and well, certainly Jackal's car looks damaged. I'm not sure about Mattis, but that is on the outside. Mattis through the flat right-hander. He makes the move done before he has to turn. That's a really, really nice move. Really nice and clean. And Jackal with a huge snap of oversteer while trying to get the power down. But it does not look like this battle is going to end anytime soon. Stanek pits in the Aston Martin. And now Jackal is falling behind, away from Mattis. And now this is Benton chasing down Peterson. And this is a very strange scenario that you do get quite a lot in these sorts of races. He has to overtake 5th and 4th before he can overtake 6th. Of course, that's what happens when you're a lap down. Makes these races a whole lot more confusing. And there is Peterson. We're on lap 30 here. And there is Bailing. 27 seconds behind Marshall, 35 seconds behind the leader, Canoro, with 23 minutes, 23 and a half minutes to go. There is an element of just bring the car home for Bailing. P4 Kowalczyk just 37 seconds behind. So it's just make sure you stay consistent, make sure you don't make any silly mistakes, and bring the car home for P3. There is Marshall, the gap between him and Canoro ever growing. So it might also be the same thoughts going through Marshall's head as well. There is Mattis. Overtook Jackal a couple of laps ago. Hasn't managed to properly lose him. Still just about within a second. And this battle could end up reigniting. There is Stanek in the Aston Martin, currently running 10th, says out of 11. But I can't actually find the 11th car. So, Stanek in the Aston Martin, number 666, multi-leaguer team. 26 points, this 10th place will add 22 to their current 26. And Butler, I'm not sure if he's closing. I think it does look like he is closing to Kowalczyk, so that could become an interesting battle for 4th place. And I have said a few times about closing and opening gaps, but that's not really something you think about as a driver, especially in a race that's of a distance as this. You just want to get into the right flow, and once you reach that state of mind where there's literally nothing else you're thinking about, you're just thinking about the next apex, the next braking point, there does then eventually become a sort of, okay, that's the car ahead, what do I need to do to catch him and then pass him? But if you're, for example, Bender would be a good example. He's got 5 seconds to Matthias behind him. There's basically nobody anywhere near ahead of him. He's got Butler 26 seconds ahead, 25 seconds. Butler, that gap's going down pretty quickly. Can't actually tell where he is. But anyways, Bender will just be focusing on that braking point. That's when you turn. And that's why, like, small mistakes like going slightly wide can be so crucial to a race, because it knocks you, it takes you straight out of that state of mind, and then you are thinking about everything. Where are all the cars? What do I need to do to go and win this race? And that's not what you need to be thinking about, because it means you're not focusing fully on what the car is doing, and then that can lead to bigger and bigger and bigger mistakes. So 18 minutes remain in this America's Racing League Endurance Series race here at Bathurst. The leader, Canoro in the BMW. Second is Marshall in the AMG. Third is Bailing in the Ferrari. Then 4th place goes to Kowalczyk. 5th for Butler, who is closing in. This could become a bit of a battle for 4th place. Then 6th place goes to Peterson. Oh, sliding and ends up in the barriers. Didn't go around, but wow, that was very close to a very big accident. And what I was saying about that frame of mind, he is now completely out of it. He has to refocus. And while he's doing that, he is losing precious seconds. Although P5 is 32 seconds ahead of him, and P7 is nearly a minute behind, so not too much of an issue for him. And back to bailing in the Ferrari in 3rd place, who is also in a bit of a world of his own. And, well, I said this might kick off. It does look like this is going to become a proper battle between Butler and Kowalczyk. Butler now wants to get the run. Downhill, then uphill, then downhill. He's not in the slipstream though. He's pulled right out from the slipstream and is staying out of the slipstream. But is still catching and is still alongside as they go into the right, flat right-hander. But he didn't have enough confidence to go side by side. And Kowalczyk goes off. Kowalczyk goes off anyways. Off the track, onto the grass. Butler gets P4. And well, it was a smart idea not to carry on flat through the right-hander. 15 minutes to go. And, well, Butler has made it up to 4th, and that could be a crucial change for the standings. But not that I can see. And there is Stanek in the Aston Martin. We go on board through the flat right-hander and down into the chicane where, oh, and he's made the same mistake that Kowalczyk has made. He tried to come on earlier though and ends up in the wall. He didn't have enough grip when he came back onto the circuit, and that is another mistake from another driver in this race. And as heartbreaking as it can end up being for the drivers, for spectators watching the drivers make mistakes is all part of the watching pleasure. But Stanek now is 2/10 quicker than his fastest lap. 3/10 now as he goes through turn 2. Really nice line. Listen to that Aston Martin growl. Back on the mistakes, Bathurst is a track where drivers do tend to make many a mistake. Through the left-hander, 4/10 quicker, although he looked like he was going a bit wider through the left-hand kink, so I had to lift a bit. Through the chicane now, he's lost a lot of time through the chicane and is now pretty much on par with his quickest lap. By the way, his quickest lap is a 2-minute 4.9. As we approach 12 minutes remaining in this race. And Stanek rounds the final corner, and it will end up being around about 0.4 quicker than his quickest time. And by the way, Butler passed Kowalczyk not that long ago, but is now just over 5 seconds behind Butler. And there is Bender in 7th place, Jacqueline 9th. And there's Canoro, who gets past Jackal, who gets quite nicely out of his way. And Canoro heading on towards his first race win of this series. I sincerely apologise, there were some technical difficulties there. But I don't believe there has been anything that I have missed. So we now have 8.5 minutes to go. And Marshall really has fallen away from Canoro. 17 seconds the gap now. But it is a good 30 seconds between him and 3rd place, Bailing. So, not much. But looks like it will change for any 3 of those drivers. So moving away from the top 3, there's Peterson, who's had a very solid race in his Ferrari, running P6. And there's Bender in the Mustang, doing really well in said Mustang. So there is Butler running in P4. Looks like it'll be a good race for him as well. Kowalczyk, P5. And Bender will have to move out of the way for Canoro. Blue flags being waved. Or probably move out of the way down the main straight. Or won't do. Stays on the racing line. And Canoro looks to be stuck behind him. Bender went slightly wider. So Canoro just about makes it through. Bender then goes behind and flashing the lights. And now the next hurdle for Canoro is Mattis. In P8, it's about 6 seconds ahead on the track. And there is Stanek running in last place. And has Marshall closing down, who is in second place, to lap him. And Peterson, yeah, I believe it is, Peterson into the pit lane. In the final 4 minutes, within the final 5 minutes. He's got the emergency lights on. That could be game over for Peterson. Jackal, 35 seconds ahead of Stanek in last. I can't see the gap between Mattis and him. Mattis in 8th. And there is Canoro, the race leader. 3.5 minutes remain here at Bathurst, which will probably include the lap that the race leader Canoro is currently on, and then the next lap. This may well be the penultimate lap of the race. And, well, what an enthralling race it has been. So, in the closing stages, not much happening. Most drivers just trying to make their way to the finish line. But Canoro and Marshall both have had a really, really good race, both improving on their qualifying positions. And Stanek with Bailing behind, and Stanek hitting the wall on the inside. I guess that's one way of letting a driver through, and now there's Peterson, who also wants to get through. And, well, just about, but that was relatively dangerous. Chopping and changing sides, and Stanek in the wall again. Just 1 minute 30 remaining. Canoro. Now, what I said may well be the final lap, but it won't be. Probably won't be, at least. So we're in the final minute. We're counting down the seconds, the checkered flag. It's been a really entertaining race here at Bathurst. We've had crashes, overtakes and drama. And now most of the drivers wanting to see that finish line, whether they've had a good race or a possibly not so great race. 30 seconds remain. But for this man here, Canoro, he's had a fantastic race in that BMW. Gained positions, and the moment he got the lead, he never let go of it. There is the checkered flag. Canoro finishes the race in P1, the race winner for BMW, and claims all 43 points. There's Marshall, who comes home in a very, very respectable second place. A very good race for him as well. 40 points. And we got drivers doing donuts there after crossing the line. There's Bailing, who had that tussle when fighting for third place and then never let go of it, as he rounds the final corner to round out the podium. Bailing comes home in P3. Butler currently running P4, although has Kowalczyk in P5 behind. Could this go down to the wire? Could this go down to the final corner? And it'll be the last of the positions that are up in the air as they go down towards the flat right-hander, where Butler lifted off and then forced Kowalczyk into a mistake to take that position here at this chicane. And that's going to be all for it. Butler rounds the final corner and takes the checkered flag in P4. A very nice race for him. Kowalczyk comes home in P5. Stanek already in the pit lane. And well, that was it. The race at Bathurst comes to an end. And what a race it was as well. Canoro comes home victorious. And he drove really well. And that chicane there claimed many a driver. accelerates down towards said chicane. I can imagine he is very, very happy with that performance. Marshall coming into the pit lane, having got second place for his team. Champagne Endurance. What an extraordinary race. And it's all over. Thank you so very much. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.